Yeah.
Okay, so you've chosen the Gorakh Sabadi.
Yeah, that is one. So all these writings were actually all vocals actually. At that time it was passed vocally down. And later on, maybe 15th century, they started writing some things, some texts.
14th through the 18th.
Yeah, 14th to the 18th century they started writing about trying to find it, yes, compiling.
Yeah.
And whatever they knew that time, so that was compiled, right, in very short books of that. So this one great scholar, he collected them and then he put them in a collection and called it Gorakh Sabadi. You know, so that is how his first text appeared. It's just like, I think 1942 or something. But
that's like P.D. Bartwal.
Yes, Bartwal.
In the 20th century,
yes,
yeah.
Yes, very true. So this was a scholar who collected this
Which
10.
is the definitive
Yeah, so we have
edition.
this 10, also like starting with the Sabda, then the Pada, you know. So they are all there. These are small books that he collected and then put them together. So the verses are all there, right? And then, because, so it's like that.
So why did you choose this particular text compilation? And why is it important to you? And how is it still relevant to us now, when Gorakhnath was living at somewhere between the 11th and 13th,
yes.
a medieval yogi saint?
Yes, very true. Because you can see the truth there also of Gorakh's, existence at that time. Because in the verses also you can see that Gorakhnath talks about Muhammad the Prophet. So you can easily guess the time, right? When he was, right? Because he talks about Muhammad, he talks about Islam in many of the verses we can find in Sabadi, you see. So, sorry, just drink of water. Yeah. So the Sabdis are very important, one of the most important for this time's yogi, let's say 20th century, 21st century, Why? Because I am one product, right, of this lineage, of my lineage. And in my lineage, right, the Gorakh Sabadi has that book, that literature of Gorakh Sabadi has been the main teachings that my gurus, right, or my spiritual guru father, and then my spiritual great grandfather, right, and even my spiritual great great grandfather, right, gurus lineage, and they were the ones who taught this, right. They were interested in the Sabdis, right, because in the Sabdis, once we study the Sabdis and understand, grasp the meaning, and put it into practice, then we become real Gorakh's Chela. Without that, we are nowhere else, because today it has been deformed. I have seen the practices of the Naths, particularly of all these families, like many different families, we have like 12. And then the real practice is been lost, you see. And in my lineage, it has been preserved. So I'm happy about it. And
the Teshwari.
Yeah, in my lineage. That means not family, my lineage, my guru's lineage, right? Family is there. In my family, there are many, right? But me particularly attached to particular guru's lineage, right? And my guru's lineage has been passing down these teachings to us. And I get these teachings from my guru, right? Because he tells me to focus on this.
So Nath Aghori Baba.
Yes.
And his guru.
Yes. Guru was Pitambardatt.
Yeah.
Right. And he was one of the famous saints of India, right? Yeah. During his time, he was regarded as one great, compassionate, lovable, kind, saint who really focused on the Gorakh Sabadi, and most of his time he spent in Bengal. You know, at that time Bengal was very big. Like today there's Bangladesh, Assam, and all, but at that time it wasn't like that. The whole thing was known as Bengal. Right? So he stayed most of the time in Bengal and, was teaching the Gorakh Sabadi.
And he was from Kashmir.
Yes,
Yeah.
right, explaining and trying to, telling everyone to follow because it explains about everything. It explains about the discipline, what a yogi should be, right? How much disciplined he should be in order to grasp the nature of his sadhana. So all these things, right? It's found in the verses of the Gorakh Sabadi. So this was very important for me, as it has been passed down. So I'm still here. So I want to still, maintain the flow and the teachings and the knowledge and the wisdom that anyone can have by having the knowledge of the Sabdi, the verses, Okay? You can just take one verse of the Sabdi and then, just the one verse you can dive and dive and dive for months.
Right, and so in this project you are going to be doing one verse
At a time.
At a time.
Yes.
Unpacking it in depth.
Very.
And so just to give the listeners an idea of the core philosophy in this Gorakh Sabadi, there's this idea that the guru is actually wisdom and the chela or the disciple is the mind.
The consciousness.
Consciousness. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so there is this Sabdi there, right? It's 189, Gorakh Sabdi. Right. And it's a beautiful verse, right? It really describes who is the real guru, right, and who is the real chela, right? So in this very small verse only, there is the ocean of knowledge that anyone can dive into, right? Because here it says that the best guru, the real guru, right, the perfect guru, who is eternal, is wisdom. There is no guru who is greater than wisdom.
Right.
You see?
Within.
Yes. So this is a beautiful thing, right? You see.
Okay. You're going to talk about this next.
Yes, we will amplify this later on.
So the second core philosophy is the idea of dying while living.
Yeah, that is there also, right. That is dying while living. When you're alive, you need to die, right? So death here we are dealing with, right?
Yeah.
And that is important for us to understand why we got to die when we are alive, when we are still walking around, breathing. Right?
Yeah.
So now this death is the death of the attachment to the worldly life that we have, right? How we should detach ourselves mentally, right? That is, we need to detach, because physically we are always in this world, right? Nobody can take you out of this planet and put you on a different, okay, this is a different planet, you stay there. No. It's the world. We are all together here, right? Among everybody else. So how we, detach ourselves, right? It's not like detaching means you leave the society and run away into the forest.
No, I mean, is it like the death of the ego?
Yes, because detachment here is once you start understanding once you understand yourself. Now, self is equal to it is equal to the consciousness, It's the same thing. We got to realize that the consciousness is the self. Mm-hmm. There is no other self besides consciousness. Right? So that realization of the self being the consciousness is important, because then the consciousness is there because there is awareness, right? And the special or awareness, we can call it awakened awareness. Mm-hmm. Right? So it is related right? And then beside this, we have the mind also. Right?
Okay. The third critical core
Yes,
philosophy.
the mind is the most critical one out here to
There's
understand.
also this idea that transforming dogma, and that Gorakhnath really emphasized the inner discipline was more important than external rituals.
Yes, very true.
Yeah.
Because that is the target. That is the practice that we have to adopt.
Right.
You know, because there is too much of dogma today in the world, right?
Right.
And people are focused outside, right? What they see, the place they visit.
On pujas. And,
yes, all these things. You know.
yeah.
So they are focused outside,
Right.
and they are losing themselves in these dogmas which are going to waste their life, right?
And so then the Gorakh Sabadi also talks about the yoga techniques in order to focus inwards.
Yes, it's very much. Then he says you got to focus inward, not outside. Because outside is just an illusion. It's not real at all, right? It's a distraction,
Right.
right? Like idol worship.
Yeah.
It's a big distraction for people. You can see thousands of people attracted to this kind of things,
Yeah.
right? Now people need to move away from this thing
Yeah.
because it's not real, it's an illusion.
And go into Hatha Yoga.
You got to look at yourself.
Meditation.
Yes, yoga is very important, you know. Gorakh says, without yoga, a yogi cannot achieve, right? The moksha.
Right.
The yogi will not get enlightened, you know, without the practice of yoga.
Okay.
So that is what always Gorakhnath emphasized,
Yeah.
right? He went around teaching yoga,
Right.
right? Expressing everything very beautifully. That was what Gorakh did. And Gorakh was not involved in doing rituals,
No.
visiting, going on a pilgrimage and visiting places and all these things, right? He wasn't. He was
sitting.
moving, right? And he was attracting, right? And he knew how to attract the right ones, you know, the right chelas. They'll understand and they'll, because he was so powerful himself, right? By going through this, right? By getting the advice from the guru,
Right.
and then he becomes this, right? He was a simple cowherd,
Yeah.
right? Living always with the cows. His friend were his cows, and no one else. He didn't have a friend, you know.
Okay, so these are the key aspects that are we'll be discussing throughout this whole series.
Yes, we will be talking of the
slokas.
sabdis, even the different verses, which
Okay.
are pretty interesting, and also it will be very helpful if people understand this truth, you know, the reality. That's what we need to understand, because we have been taken very far away from the reality, you know. That's why Gorakh himself is saying that, you know, all the idol worship is all bullshit. Why are you running after this idol worship, you know? Why are you so blind? Why don't you open your eyes, you know, the fold from your eyes, and see the real thing and do the real thing, that it will enhance your spiritual growth, right?
Yeah.
And that is what Gorakh was focusing, because he was a bodhisattva. So he wanted to heal people, and he wanted to give them the technique of healing themselves and enlightening themselves, like Buddha.
Yeah.
Right?
And these techniques have been well preserved because of these compilations.
Yes,
And
and
so-
it has been, from him, it has been developed in different ways. Right? But anyone can get into it and practice what he needs.
Okay.
So, yeah.